In today's video, I'm going to do the Booktube newbie tag because my channel hasn't been around for that long and it seemed fun to do a few tag videos here and there so you get to know me a little bit. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? I've had a YouTube channel around the God subculture for over 8 years and I really love that channel, but recently my life has changed drastically and I am a big nerd. I've always been reading a lot when I was younger, when I was in school, and that stopped kind of when I started working and I went through burnout, etc. And I recently picked up reading super actively again and I was like, why don't I share that love for fantasy, for reading with people on YouTube? So worldwide with anyone who is interested, and I want to make fantasy reading and fantasy anything, books, but also movies and also board games, because right behind where my camera is, I have a huge board game closet. I want to make that more normal, as I have done with God subculture, and make it more accessible to people. So that's why I started this channel, to share my love for fantasy in all of its shapes that it can take. Question 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? First of all, I don't think I'm that much of a special snowflake. However, I am alternative. I have always been alternative since I was able to pick my own direction, and I love reading in fantasy, and just ignoring the world is maybe not the best word for it, but it allows me to live other lives. That's the best way I can describe it. And the way that I think I might add to this community is because I do love darker, spookier stories, vampires, dark elves. And I truly hope that I bring my unique point of view of reading books and also of the types of books that I'm reading, and that it maybe allows you to discover things that you wouldn't have otherwise found online. And of course, I just want to inspire you and make this a happy, fun place for book lovers. Question number 3. What are you most excited for about this new channel? First of all, I want to help other people find out about books that they will read and love. And the other way around, I love to have a community that also recommends me books based upon the things that I maybe am interested in or talking about. Like when I made the top 5 books with vampires video, I loved sharing books that I personally love with vampires. But what I loved even more is the fact that so many of you commented on that video and that I got new book recommendations through that video. So really the community aspect, the people that I maybe don't have around me, because not all of my friends are that much into book reading and are that much into the same types of books that I'm reading. I think that is something that I really hope for, that I'm able to find here. And so far that's already been happening, and I'm forever grateful to every one of you who has already been commenting on my videos and just interacting with me, because that's why I do it. Question 4. Why do you love reading? I think this is very cliche, but I started reading when I was younger and I felt so immersed in these worlds of these books, more even than movies and series. So I've been getting lost in books since I was young, and that hasn't stopped. And recently I picked it up again and my life has become so much better. When reading books, I can get lost in it somehow, and also it makes me reevaluate my own living situation and my own life, and it isn't that bad. I'm not constantly under threats of being assassinated or being hunted by a dragon or something. Yeah, it makes my life so much better, and I just love getting lost in the stories. Question 5. What book or series got you into reading? Now, when I was younger, I read a lot. I'm from Belgium, so here Mark de Bel was one of the first writers that I read a lot of books by. And then whenever I grew up, I remember vividly Laurel K. Hamilton's books, the Anita Blake series. It is what got me through my teenage years. I think I was a little bit too young to read those books, but hey. And then recently, I picked up Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman again after a long hiatus of reading, and that book really sparked my interest for fantasy books again, and then it escalated. The books that I currently love the most are definitely Empire of the Vampire and The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I think those two series are really good. Also Nevernight Chronicles are really good by Jay Kristoff, same author as Empire of the Vampire. And then of course there's the classical books. I read Lord of the Rings when I was still very young. I really loved it. But then also the movies were coming out, and I feel like a lot of people just went straight to the fantasy movies, which isn't a bad thing. It made it more accessible to everyone, but I feel like the books were so like underappreciated for such a long time that I feel like, yeah, for me, reading really made a bigger difference. I felt more connected through the books that I was reading. And also, fun fact that I only just now remember, my parents always let me read as long as I wanted in the evening. So whenever my homework was done, we could either decide to go in front of the TV and watch movies and stuff, or we could read. And I remember there was like a definite like clock off moment for TV watching, but there wasn't for reading. So I was often reading and fell asleep on my books more than once. Yeah, those are some of the memories that I still have of reading. 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I know some of the booktubers that I watch actually do booktube full time, and I would love to know how they do that, because to me at this point it doesn't seem like something that is bound to happen or anytime soon. I would love to, of course, that would be super interesting, but I feel like how you combine like work with YouTube and combining the two and having it be a successful channel. And of course, I would love to do collaborations with other booktubers, so that would be one of the questions I ask them as well, if they want to collaborate on some fun video ideas that I have. Question 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? For me, personally, it's reeling myself in. I have so many videos I want to make. I have so many video ideas that I'm working on, and I actively have to hold myself back to posting 1 or 2 videos a week and not overworking myself, because I've been going through burnout from my job. I'm still recovering from that burnout, and I don't want to get into that again. So for me, it's very important to kind of reel myself and my energy in, keep it to certain moments, make the videos I want to make. And I do have a huge list of video ideas. Whenever I'm kind of stuck on video ideas, I can always go back through that one. But I feel like for me, the biggest challenge will be to kind of contain my excitement and overwork myself on this channel. And I think also it's going to be a struggle to not compare myself constantly to other channels, how they are doing, how big they are, etc. Because I just started a few months ago. I don't need to compare myself to channels that have been going on for years and years. And I know that, but sometimes it kind of creeps into my head anyways. Up next, we have question number 8. When did you start reading? I think the moment I was able to read. My parents have always been very supportive of me and my brother reading, so we started reading very young on. We went to the library a lot. And like the first books that I actually remember buying for myself or getting from my parents, of course, were the Harry Potter series. I know I read them quite young. I read them as they released. So yeah, those are like the first memories that I have of starting to read. Question number 9. Where do you read? I read in a lot of places. I read whenever I'm waiting somewhere, whether it be in my car, waiting for an appointment because I'm early, waiting when I need to go to the doctor's, waiting in whatever waiting room you need to wait in. But I mainly read in my sofa, because I have this very large sofa and a lamp behind it with one of my cats on or near me, or I also read in bed. And during summer, I also read in my reading nook egg thing. It's like a egg. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's a sitting egg, and I love reading into that as well. So I always try, whenever I'm at home reading, to find a cozy place to sit and read where I can spend hours. But I tend to read a little bit everywhere. Whenever we go on holiday, I read in the airport whenever we're waiting, whenever we're in the plane, whenever we're like around the resort, etc. So I kind of tend to read everywhere. Question number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I personally am a big lover of fantasy. And fantasy for me can be a lot of aspects. I don't like when it's like historical fantasy, but like almost not fantasy, but too much based on the historical. That's something that I don't like. I want my fantasy to be fairies, dragons, elves, vampires, anything that isn't real. That's what I love most. So it could be romantasy, it could be epic fantasy, it could be dark fantasy, it could almost be horror as well. Although I feel like it has to be light enough or fantasy enough and not purely the horror aspect. That's what I personally love reading most. And then finally, question 11, what does your book collection look like? Well, this part of the bookshelf is mine. I will quickly turn you and try and pan you a little bit. So from the top, we have my personal soft covers. I still have a little bit of room there. And then we have the hard covers, and everything is sorted by author last name. And then of course we have this display shelf, which has my favorite books. And then here at the bottom is where the hard covers continue. And actually that side of the bookshelf, that is chaos incarnate, is not my part of the bookshelf. It's my partner's. And honestly, my bookshelf part is almost full. So I'm actively looking into getting another bookshelf that I can put in my desk, because in my office I still have space for a bookshelf. So maybe in the future I will change to recording there as well, because the lighting here is all over the place, but I love having books in my background. So maybe once I get that shelf, maybe I'll start recording there, who knows. But yeah, this is my physical book collection for now. I also have a lot of ebooks, and those of course are on my e-reader. If you have a Booktube channel yourself, feel free, of course, to do this video as well. I would love to see it if you've done it. And of course, if you have a channel that has been around for longer, feel free to let me know in the comments as well the link to it, or comment that you have a channel so I can click on it and have a look. I would love to know more booktubers. I currently don't really know a bunch of them because I only just started. And of course, should you have any other questions about my reading, what I love to read, etc., feel free to ask them in the comments down below. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!